Welcome to tonight's broadcast of Channel 6 Daily News.
Today is November 21st, 1785, and we're going back to discuss the Revolutionary War.
Now we know that this war is so close in our hearts, since it's only been 2 years since it's been over. We'd like to discuss two topics this evening.
First, the reasons why the colonies wanted to break from their home country.
And second, what made it so that such a small, barely put together army could defeat the world's best. There were many reasons for the colonists to break away from the mother country, Britain. One of the main reasons is that they were governed by King George, who lived thousands of miles away, instead of by themselves. Also, there were many acts conferred on the colonists.
These acts included the Sugar Act, the Stamp Act, Townshend Act, Tea Act, and Intolerable Acts. The Sugar Act was a tax that the British Parliament put on the colonies. Sugar was a big necessity in the colonies and was a way for Britain to gain money and punish the colonies. The Stamp Act was yet another tax put on the colonies. This time, it was on all paper products. For example, newspapers, letters, books, and stamps. They all had things on them. Then the Townshend Act was more taxes put on things like glass, lead, paints, and papers, and tea.
Which is an example of the first rebellions in the colonies. And lastly, the Intolerable Acts were consequences of the Boston Tea Party. These punishments included the closing of the Boston Harbor, thus freezing vital trade, and other punishments that really burdened the colonies.
All of these taxes really angered the colonists and made them question their allegiance to Britain. Another event that helped break the ties between the colonies and Britain was the colonies had to help fund the French and Indian War. This angered the colonists because it was affecting them, therefore they shouldn't have to pay for it.
All these were reasons why they wanted to break away from Britain. And the second topic we wanted to touch upon was how on earth this poor group of farmers beat the world's top military of their time.
When you think of the British Army, you think of a highly trained, bright red, extremely skilled, and dedicated soldiers. Along with that, you think of the most desired generals and best navy of their time. In short, extremely impressive. Now think of the colonists. What do you think? Farmers, poverty, and children, people who haven't even touched a gun.
The thing is, the colonists knew how much they were up against and planned ways to overcome this army.
They thought of ways to get everyone involved. They fought for a single cause that they believed in. They used unheard of battle tactics. They knew the land, and they didn't give up.
First of all, the reasons why people first came to the colonies was in search of some sort of freedom. This unified the group of people. They believed in this goal and had something they were willing to die for.
The British, on the other hand, was only fighting because they were told to. They didn't have a core belief why they were fighting for. Didn't have as much motive to prevail.
Another thing that helped the colonists overcome the British was the fact that the colonists knew for a fact that they would be massacred if they followed the rules.
The British are used to standing in the middle of the field, opposed by an army, and simply standing there and shooting. The colonists knew that if they did that, they didn't stand a chance.
In order to overcome the barrier, they simply played by their own rules. They hid in woods, wore camouflage, made sneak attacks, and attacked at unheard times. This was brand new to British, so they were very slow to catch on. Because of this, colonists definitely had the edge in some ways.
On top of that, the British soldiers didn't know the land. They were fighting against people who founded this country. They knew the land like the back of their hands. This definitely gave them the edge because they were able to maneuver easier.
The last reason that the colonies beat the British was that the British were extreme spread thin. They were fighting wars all over the world.
They had just finished the French and Indian War, and they were trying to regroup. They simply didn't have enough soldiers to cover all of the colonies. Granted, they still overwhelmingly outnumbered the colonists, but they were not at full strength.
So looking back on the past few minutes, we have learned that what pushes the colonists' buttons and made them want to leave Great Britain, and reasons have colonists the upper hand in the long run, were the reasons why the colonists were able to prevail.
Well, this is Channel 6 News. Thank you for listening.